So I know probably a lot of you are wondering, why the hell are we talking about Spider-Man? Isn't this an otaku channel? Well, first off, if you've read the title of this video, then you would know why. But yeah, basically, I just wanted to go through this because you have a certain topic, and I feel like I should probably address it. There's already a Spanish version of this kind of video, so I don't know. Maybe I have some information that wasn't conveyed in that other video. Point is, this is the version for English speakers, and second off, because I really do like Spider-Man. You know, it's something I've grown up with. You know, I watched the original Sam Raimi trilogy. Basically, I was in theaters when the first Spider-Man film came out. I think it was like, I was 4 at the time, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, you know, I've grown up with Spider-Man, and yeah, this trailer kind of got me hyped for it. However, I will go ahead and say I got hyped for it more than just one reason. You guys understand why. But you know, let's just go through the trailer. I know a lot of people have sort of dissected the trailer, but you know, I'm just gonna throw in my own little spin on this. So, you know, without further ado, let's just get into it.
My name is Peter Parker. Pretty sure you know the rest. I saved the city, fell in love, and I saved the city again and again.
A couple of the Sam Raimi moments. I can probably look at each one and tell you what scene that was from, but I'm not really gonna try to do that.
Look, I'm a comic book, cereal, I did a Christmas album, and a so-so pops.
Only Mexicans would understand, because you know, we all knew the ice cream guy had these. We all knew.
But this isn't about me. Not a
What was with that Yugo, by the way? Okay, I'm gonna try to go backwards a little. I'm sorry, did not try to. Damn it! Anyone else notice that Yugo? I know this thing just got weird. I know, I'm sorry.
Dad, are you serious? Look at this place.
That's some police brutality right there. Also, I recommend you watch the trailer full screen because you'll kind of notice the little details of why people are saying, "Oh, this looks a lot like a comic book." Like at first, I did not know what everyone was talking about until I actually noticed in full screen, and I noticed that it definitely does look a lot like, you know, what you did. The textures look a lot like something out of a comic book. Trust me, you'll understand what I mean when you actually watch it in full screen.
Dad, I love you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Miles Morales. I'm the one and only Spider-Man. At least that's what I thought. You're here to sue the land, you know of this. Really, man, that's impossible. Alright, kids, listen up. This fry is your universe. Song is weird, it's gross. And this delicious and normal fry is my universe. So you want
Delicious.
Spider-Man? Yes, I can. Time to swing. Do it. Double tap your release. That's not whipping out again. Okay, whip. And release your natural whip.
They really are going ham with the comic book aesthetic in this one.
Hey guys, who are you?
I'm Gwen Stacy.
I'm from another dimension. What's my people on here? Hey fellas.
That's what we came here for, guys. That's what we came here for.
It can get weirder.
It did.
Okay. We need to get back to our universes. Soon. Brooklyn is going to collapse. My family lives in Brooklyn. This was never your city. It's mine. If I don't destroy the collider, none of us will have a home to go home to. Remember what makes you different? Let's go. It's what makes you Spider-Man. Officer, looking here. That way, that way. Other way, other way, other way, other way. Do animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak them out.
So that's, yeah, I'm sorry if I stayed quiet. I kind of ran out of stuff. I thought we'd had more. I thought I'd have more. than this to say about this. And I'm sorry that it just went into like this weird frame. Just I don't know, man. I don't know. Something weird happened. I think somehow this moved out. I am sorry. Like I said, I don't know. Nappy tried to sort of do this PowerPoint. You know, sometimes I am not able to sort of work things out myself, so I have him do it. But yeah. So yeah. So for those of you who have no idea what the heck is going on, basically, we are entering the SpiderVerse event. Let me zoom out for a moment. That way I can get into the frame. There we go. So basically, for those of you who have no idea what the heck is going on, it's the SpiderVerse event, which is basically where Spider-Man goes into multiple dimensions and basically partners up with Spider-Man from other dimensions. I guess I should say Spideys, because, you know, there are Spider-Women and even non-human Spideys, I guess. You know, Spider-Ham, of course, being one of them. And pretty much they're trying to prevent the destruction of pretty much all of the dimensions. Basically, if you've ever seen Rick and Morty, you're kind of familiar with this, and you kind of know that this is not that every iteration of Spider-Man that has or will be done is not every single Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure there's probably a Spidey pizza somewhere, but they haven't done that because it's too ridiculous. So yeah, we pretty much all know the original Spider-Man. I heard pretty much, which is basically Peter Parker, Earth 616, and well, yeah, a lot of people keep speculating that this might be the version of Spider-Man that appeared in the Sam Raimi films, basically the Tobey Maguire version. But you know, it could be possible. I'm not too sure. Either way, I'm still hyped for it. So yeah, what I'm about to show you next are the versions of Spider-Man that we will be seeing in the films. So let's start this out. So first we have Miles Morales. Now I'm gonna go ahead and be honest. I have not fully caught up with the comics. However, I am definitely aware of Miles Morales'. I'm definitely aware of his backstory. I mean, he did appear in the recent Spider-Man games. But by the way, a lot of people kept saying that they saw the white spider suit from the PS4 games, which I'll go ahead and say that is a pretty interesting Easter egg. So yeah, these guys definitely did their homework, and I'll go ahead and say that from what I have gathered from Miles Morales' story, it's a pretty interesting one. Next we have Ghost Spider or Spider-Woman, but you know, let's just go with who she is, Spider-Gwen. She comes from the version of the universe where it wasn't Peter that was bitten by the radioactive spider, but rather it was Gwen Stacy, which, from what I've heard from Stan Lee himself, he basically mentions that she was supposed to be Spidey's original girlfriend, not Mary Jane. Mary Jane was pretty much she was Rem, while Gwen Stacy was pretty much Amelia. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyways, a lot of people that have read the comic, you know, that she is in. A lot of people say that they praised it because it was very stylish. And one thing I will notice that maybe a lot of people that I've been told in the trailer was the fact that she actually wore green ballet slippers. You know, you may have noticed those, and I'm like, those are ballet slippers? I mean, it would make sense considering how you know, the way that the spider powers work. You know, and you know, it's honestly a pretty interesting choice for me. You know, to have her wear ballet slippers, which I'll go ahead and say, girly, but in a good way. I'll have a respect for people who can do ballet because, let's face it, these little piggies cannot support all of this. I'll go ahead and say this. I cannot do whatever ballet people do. Anyways, next we have Spider-Man Noir, which basically takes place in a version of Earth set in the 1930s or 1940s, somewhere between the Great Depression and World War II. And basically this is supposed to be a much grittier version of Spider-Man. Depending on which version you pick, he will either not hesitate with the use of guns and will actually kill people, or will still pretty much be, you know, in the same camp as the other Spider-Men, who basically do not use, do not try to kill people. Like, they will still go the pacifist route. And next one is something that a lot of people have confused for being inspired by The Simpsons, Spider-Ham, which I'll go ahead and say I was in the same camp as people in saying that, yeah, this The Simpsons called it, but as it turns out, this has been around for a while. And I think it was in one of the issues of something they called Marvel Tales. Tales spelled as in, you know, little tail. And yeah, this is basically a version of Spider-Man where he's a pig called Spider-Ham. So yeah, really the Simpsons were paying an homage in the movie. You know, in the Simpsons movie. So it was interesting. Anyways, but what I heard, okay, I probably should have said this before, but Spider-Man Noir is going to be played by Nicolas Cage, which kind of worries me, but at the same time intrigues me. This one is going to be, Spider-Ham is going to be played by John Mulaney, which, as you may have seen in the trailer, he has this sort of dry comedy in the sense that maybe what he says, if put out of context, or if put in a way that maybe it shouldn't be funny, but the way that it is delivered and pretty much the way that the scenarios play out and the way that that John is sort of calm in most situations, he is pretty hilarious. So like it's just I guess it's just his style. Anyways, if you've ever seen a show called Mulaney, which is basically a sitcom basically with John playing himself, then you probably know what I'm talking about. Anyways, those are all the other spiders. Now for the one we're here to talk about, Peni Parker, which basically, yeah, if you guys want a close up of that picture, I have the actual comic right here. Yeah, I actually read it. Then you know, I'll go ahead and say this: I had no idea that they actually made an anime version of Spider-Man. Now I am very well aware that yeah, there have been anime versions of Spider-Man. Heck, actually, there was actually a live-action Japanese version, Spider-Man, which also, in a way, sort of, kind of inspired the Power Rangers with the introduction of giant mechs, sort of thing. But yeah, long story short, this is more of a manga version of Spider-Man, which is a little bit more based off of 90s sci-fi anime, which, you know, we're talking Akira, Evangelion, Ghost in the Shell, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, the issue I have here is Edge of Spider-Geddon, but the original one where she did appear was Edge of Spider-Verse, and which is pretty much where she comes from, and she was pretty much made in around 2014. Now, I'm not going to say the authors just yet, but there's a reason why. So, pretty much, we'll go ahead and say that this is a lot more of a, I guess if I had to describe the comic, you're basically gonna go with a bit of an edgier, teenage edgy, sort of angsty. I guess that's probably the best way I can describe it without being too. It's a decent comic. Let's go with that. So, in this one, we're kind of going off of a 1980s style, but if you notice the version of Penny that they used in the trailer, then you'll pretty much notice that they went for a more of a modern anime, something like, say, something you'd see from Kyo Annie or A1 Pictures, that kind of animation. Again, I can kind of see the reasons why they went with that style. Now, they could just be me conspiracy theorizing, but the fact is that it could be possible that they maybe threw it in Penny because people have sort of seen what has been done with other successful anime in the sense of, say, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid or Cells at Work, which are good anime on their own, but they do have that sort of what I like to call lolly bait. And no, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean that it's sort of that one signature character that sort of attracts attention for people who want to buy the figurines or such, or the art books. And yeah, however, I do think that they very much chose her not only because of that, but also because it's honestly is a pretty good story. Like, I would recommend you getting this. And funny enough, after the premiere of the trailer, these things started to actually sell pretty darn well. In fact, I actually had to get this online instead of, having to, get it at a comic book. Like, you had all the other issues that, like, I actually do go to a local comic book. I actually did try to look for it, but it didn't appear. And let me just go ahead and mention the author here, because this is honestly pretty interesting. I'll give you a hint. You will not. A lot of people will realize that, or maybe this is a bit of a shock, but actually, the story, a lot of Edge of SpiderVerse, Edge of Spider-Again, and a lot of the other stories was actually in part written by. I'll give you guys a guess. Go ahead and guess it. Do not use Google. Okay, you want to know who this was written by? Gerard Way, a.k.a. the ex-lead of My Chemical Romance. And you don't even have to Google it. I'll just show you right here. If you look right here in the credits, maybe you can find it. Maybe you can see it. Boom. Gerard freaking Way, charge of the story. And I'm just like, since when does Gerard Way do comics? Like, this is completely news to me. But yeah, as it turns out, he's been doing it for quite a while. So yeah, long story short, so a guy that used to be in a punk rock band, I probably am not using the right term, but a guy who has written perhaps one of those songs that teenagers play endlessly, eventually decided to go into comics. Did very well. He actually has participated in other works, and eventually wrote a Spider-Man story involving a 1990s aesthetic anime style. So yeah, it's honestly pretty darn interesting tale. I can definitely say that it is possible that maybe in November we'll start seeing more of Penny, and maybe she might be the next she might be the next palette, the next con, in the sense that she might be the sort of person that gets drawn a lot more. And we already have seen a lot of fan art. This is just some that I've managed to find. I will go ahead and say that there is worse out there, in which case I will go ahead and tell you, I only want to have to say this once. Ravioli, please protect the Spidey Loli. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video. I'm sorry I couldn't upload this a lot earlier, but I've had crazier stuff. In fact, I probably shouldn't even be at the house right now. I should be taking care of other responsibilities, but I really wanted to do this a lot earlier. And, I just needed more time to actually sit down and do the recording. So, yeah, pretty much that's all we got. Let me know what anime you guys want me to talk about, and maybe I'll talk about your favorite anime. Maybe I'll find something that comes out this season. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and that's pretty much all I got for today. And until then, this is me saying thank you for being smart. Sayonara.